Ubisoft has been struggling for years now, and they only have themselves to blame. They have ignored what their customers have said they've wanted and what they dislike, but they've barreled forward with the slop, and it hasn't turned out to be financially viable for them. We've heard that they have been going through this major restructuring, but now we are finding out that it is going to be getting 10 times more intense because there is a major company reset underway. They've canceled games, they've delayed games, and even Prince of Persia's remake is done. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, for years, Ubisoft has been going through some pretty major issues, and they only have themselves to blame. They haven't listened to what gamers want, they haven't listened to our feedback. They constantly double, triple, and quadruple down on quadruple A games like Skull and Bones and Assassin's Creed Shadows when people haven't asked for those types of experiences. And even though they've had a lot of money to throw towards projects, that money isn't actually really going into the development cycle. Clearly, it's going to the excess amount of land whales they have on their payroll, people who are not talented, the activists who push the narratives that they want them to push in their titles. And as I always say, it is way more important to hire talented people than have a large amount of people. I would take one veteran game developer over 20 juniors easily. The people who actually made money in this industry deserve to be paid a hefty chunk of change. But Ubisoft has now detailed their major company reset, and it seems like this is a last ditch effort to save themselves. We know that they had, of course, created the creative house with Tencent. They were handing off things like Assassin's Creed, trying to get those back in line because they do view them as billion-dollar brands, but that has not gone over as well as quickly as they were most likely hoping, as we've heard about layoffs and studio closures, and now it seems like they are really, really desperate. So it says Ubisoft details a major company reset amid the reorganization efforts. So we are finding out that 6 games have been canceled, including 4 unannounced games, 3 were new IP, a mobile title, and this one is going to hurt a lot of people. The Prince of Persia remake. I just a few weeks ago was talking about some of the leaked images, the public reception to those images, and a lot of people were not very impressed by it. Maybe part of the reason why they have now canned it is because the initial look at it that we got was raked across the coals. Maybe because this game has been in development hell, they have decided to not put a lot of more money or time into it. Either way, though, Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time is now donezo. This is really the only announcement I think people are upset by, because a lot of the other ones were brand new IP or mobile games. Nobody gives a fuck about those. This, though, could have made Ubisoft quite a bit of money. At least I would think. Nostalgia is a very powerful thing, and if they were putting their best foot forward and they were maybe even trying to get some vet developers that had previously worked on Prince of Persia back into this title's development process, it could have gone over okay for them. But it's wild to me that this, after basically a decade worth of development, is now being canned. And this was literally the only thing Ubisoft would have had success with. Some people are saying our expectations for you were low, but holy fuck, what a joke of a company. Peace was never an option with Ubisoft. Ubisoft, when the game is not called Assassin's Creed and it's delete, 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 which I think is hilarious because, yeah, Ubisoft does view Assassin's Creed above everything else, which makes sense because there's so many Assassin's Creed games. It has been a consistent moneymaker, but after Shadows and with the next game's alleged leaks, Yeah, I think it's time to go back to the drawing board even for that. But going down this list, 7 games have been delayed for better quality, one of which was expected before April 2026, now coming before April 2027, likely the Black Flag remake. I always say this, I think that it is good when companies are willing to delay something and release it in a much higher quality state than just rushing it out. We saw that happen with many of their games like X to Fight, which didn't have a lot of content. Assassin's Creed Shadows, I don't necessarily think could have been saved by another delay, but some people argue that maybe if they took more time to flesh out the storylines, it would have gone better. I don't agree, but it is what it is. Star Wars Outlaws definitely was nowhere close to release. And then Skull and Bones was a quadruple A failure. They cut a lot of gameplay systems from that title to get it released because they did put hundreds of millions of dollars into it. But either way, whatever these 7 games are, we don't even know how many of those will end up releasing because they could be canceled too. The Ubisoft Halifax and Stockholm studios have been closed. I did talk about this in another video. This was like Assassin's Creed Rebellion developers. Ubisoft is going to be operating under 5 creative houses for different IPs with their own leadership and end-to-end responsibility for their portfolios for better, faster decisions. Vantage Studios, which is Tencent, oversees Rainbow Six, Assassin's Creed, and Far Cry. Creative House 2 is competitive and co-op shooter experiences like Division, Ghost Recon, Splinter Cell. Creative House 3 select sharp live experiences like For Honor, The Crew, Riders Republic, Brawlhalla, Skull and Bones, games nobody cares about. Creative House Force fantasy worlds and narrative-driven universes like Anno, Might and Magic, Rayman, Prince of Persia, no clue what they're doing with that now, and Beyond Good and Evil, which even the sequel for that's been in development for God knows how many years now. And Creative House 5 is casual and family-friendly titles, which I suppose does make sense that they would want specific teams with specific skill sets working on specific games and projects. But will this save them? Probably not. Like, if you are still greenlighting slop and gamers don't want that slop, it's not going to turn out to be a success for you. No matter how structured your company looks, the end product still needs to be what gamers have been asking for. And it just looks like they're sort of on the out now. I really genuinely don't know how this is going to turn things around for them. What are they going to do? Create another Assassin's Creed game, create another Rainbow Six game, create another Skull and Bones expansion? Like, nothing we have heard of from Ubisoft sounds very exciting or exhilarating right now. And for a company that has so many different characters, so many stories, and so many opportunities, you'd think that they would be, I don't know, a little bit better at managing what they're putting out. Now, we have heard that Ubisoft is going through a lot of problems. They also recently got sued by the ex Assassin's Creed head, which, yeah, that is not a lot of money, but still doesn't look very good for them. And while we are hearing about a lot of layoffs, they are now going through like their third major wave of layoffs. It seems like they still have not completely trimmed the fat. I hope that is what these layoffs are for, getting rid of the 500-pound blue-haired land whales. Maybe they will actually rehire some dedicated, passionate, talented developers. Either way, though, gamers are furious at Ubisoft for what they have done to their IPs, how many years they have wasted on bad projects. A lot of people are saying this is the end for this company. Beyond Good and Evil 2 is absolutely one of them. Ubisoft right now, absolute dog shit. So we're not getting Beyond Good and Evil 2 then. The industry needs to be more open, honest, and transparent about what they are working on as they are working on it. If that was the case, we all would have known what the 6 games were, and Ubi could have taken feedback on which ones people actually wanted. Good lord, this company is in shambles. Creative House, and then there is nothing creative. Notice how there's no mention of Watch Dogs anywhere. It's so over. Yeah, it seems that this is bad for them. Big news. You've even got people saying Prince of Persia fans in 2026 waited longer for this than Ubisoft waited to kill another franchise. Got a beautiful 2020 reveal trailer, then silence, delays, reboots of reboots. Now officially never happening. Ubisoft hates money. Just sell the franchises to people who can make good games. The worst company in the world. I hope it dies soon. And yeah, Ubisoft is definitely the one that is going through the most problems right now. Now, maybe they could turn things around by trimming the fat and canceling some of these projects that aren't going to make them money, but I still don't have any sort of faith in them at all whatsoever. But I will be keeping a close eye on this, though things look like they are going pretty terribly for Ubisoft, and that internally they are panicking. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this important and informative, make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.